Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live event where I'm going to be sharing with you why emotional intelligence is a new leadership superpower. So, before we start, kindly share with me in the chat if you can hear me. Right, yes, right, I can hear you so that I know. Excellent. And we are sending, as usual, in different channels. So, what I would like to share with you today is what exactly is emotional intelligence and what increases versus decreases our emotional intelligence. So, let's start with a little question, okay? So, I would like you to share with me in the chat what does emotional intelligence mean to you? Not what it is, but what does it mean to you? Kindly share in the chat if you can hear this. Sorry, share in the chat what your thoughts about this, okay? Okay, so we have some answers coming in. Motivating myself and others when things get tough. Helping others feel safe to speak up, definitely. Navigating conflict without making it personal, absolutely. Connecting with people in a genuine way, yes. Giving feedback in a way that helps, not hurts. I love it. I love these comments. And you notice how every answer connects with self-leadership, connecting self-leadership with impact and with others, right? So this is exactly where high-performance leadership begins, having this understanding. So I would like to share with you an emotional intelligence model called the Goldman model. So let me bring this up for you here on the screen. Okay, not precisely. So here we are. So in terms of emotional intelligence, we can open it up, right? Like in two big aspects. So one is the personal competence. It has to do with ourselves, how we manage ourselves. And the other aspect has to do with how we manage others, the relationship with others. So how I understand myself and manage that, and how I understand others and manage that. And let's get a little bit deeper into what these kind of categories mean, okay, or groups. So let's start with self-awareness. That's where everything starts, okay? Not only emotional intelligence, but everything in life, understanding ourselves, seeing, knowing where we are. So it's about knowing your emotions as they happen, is understanding how your emotions affect your behavior and performance. It's about this honest self-assessment that you make of yourself. Then we can move forward to self-regulation. Self-regulation is controlling impulsive feelings and behaviors, is managing emotions in healthy ways, adapting to change and handling stress, thinking before acting. Those are all parts of this self-regulation. How about motivation? Being driven to achieve for the sake of achievement, resilience in the face of setbacks, strong internal drive rather than external rewards. And I will move forward towards the social competence. So we will start with empathy. Yes, it's something that we've heard quite often in the last couple of years. So it's understanding the emotions, needs, and concerns of others. It's sensing those nonverbal cues. It's seeing things from other perspectives. And the last item in this area is social skills. So managing relationships and building networks, having a clear, effective communication, conflict resolution, influence, and collaboration. Now, I will share with you this, and let me put it in a way that's easier to see. There we are. So I've put numbers. I hope you can see them. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the order they are, okay? And I would like you to share with me in the chat the numbers that, the areas that for you, you feel strong within. So any areas in terms of this emotional intelligence opening up that I made for you with these numbers, kindly share them in the chat. Where do you feel strong today? And once you've done it, I would like you to think, which areas do you believe you could be better in? Where is there potential for improvement? Which areas you might not be taking care of in the same way today, but you understand they're important. And it's something that you would like to get better in. So share that with me in the chat as well, please. Okay, so as I don't know if you all can see what I'm seeing, but what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of variation. What you're sharing with me in the chat, I can see there's a lot of variation. Okay, so as I said, we're broadcasting from to different platforms, and it's not uncommon to see that we have strengths, we have areas of development that might differ from others, right? And of course, if I look at all the answers that I have been coming in, there are some areas where we see there is some kind of connection. For instance, some of you are more feel the strength within the first area, the self-awareness, right? And that might vary. What I'm going to share with you now, it's quite interesting. I'm going to share with you the neuroscience behind emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence isn't about being nice. It's about how well we use our brain's networks to respond rather than react. So in the image that you're seeing here, the purple area, the T, represents the prefrontal cortex, or the central executive network. It is the conscious, reasoning part of the brain. This is where we plan, analyze, regulate emotions, and make decisions. The orange-red area shows the default mode network. It's back here, which is, as the name suggests, running by default. It governs automatic thoughts, routines, and internal narratives, what we do on autopilot. Imagine, it would be impossible we had to think consciously of every single decision we make every day. Many of them, they just happen. When we take a moment to reflect before responding, give thoughtful feedback, or stay calm under pressure, these two networks work together. That's the area in the image where they connect. Now, you've probably heard about the amygdala somewhere there. And it has its place in the green E area. That is the emotional network. It acts like an emotional alarm system and reacts up to 4 times faster than the prefrontal cortex. So while it's excellent in keeping us safe, creating the fight, flight, freeze reactions, it's not ideal for handling team conflict or giving performance feedback. Then we have the salience network, the blue area with the S. It's one of the brain's key control systems, a sort of switchboard that helps you notice what's important and decide where to direct your attention. So emotional intelligence is the ability to shift flexibly between these networks, to notice when the emotional network is taking over and consciously engaging the thinking, or the salience network to respond wisely. So in summary, emotional intelligence is a whole brain process, not a personality trait. And leaders with high emotional intelligence are not emotionless. They're just better at navigating across the networks in real time. So I'd like to share with you some real life cases. And let me know, please, in the chat if you have experienced this. I know I have. And It's a situation where you're in a meeting and someone challenges your idea in a sharp tone. So your amygdala flares up, you feel attacked and want to snap back. But then your salience networks kicks in. It picks up on the shift in tone, the rising tension in your body, and the importance of the moment, and it flags. This matters. Pause. So that microsecond of awareness helps you shift to the prefrontal cortex. So instead of reacting emotionally, you take a breath and maybe say something like, that's an interesting point. Can you walk me through your thinking? Another real life case is that of someone that has an over controlling behavior or a fixing attitude. And I remember working with a leader, and he shared with me how he could jump in and solve every problem their team brought up because he wanted to be present. He wanted to be a supportive leader. So it came from a good place, but a wrong understanding and a wrong use of his emotional network intelligence. So he shared that he could rewrite presentations, dictate next steps, but he rarely asked questions. So at first, he seemed full supported, but over time, they lost confidence. They stopped thinking independently and relied on the manager for every decision. So as you can imagine, the result of this was slower execution, lack of ownership, and a feeling of getting very thin and stretched. So we worked together, and the first thing we did is create an awareness of what was happening and give him tools in order to change this behavior using the knowledge we know from emotional intelligence. Another real life case is that of a leader avoiding difficult conversations. And kindly let me know in the chat if you've been part of that, if you've seen it, if you've been the receiver, or if you've been a leader that at some point avoided a difficult conversation. I mean, we're all guilty of these things. So we're not here to point fingers. We're here to learn and support each other. So in this case, the leader sees that one team member consistently misses deadlines and disrupts collaboration, which of course disrupts collaboration in the team. So instead of addressing it, she avoided the tension and hoped the behavior would improve. So meanwhile, the rest of the team was growing frustrated, feeling it was unfair, and was starting to get disengaged. So when she came to me, what was happening was that the team morale was low, the performance was not good, and this leader was seen as her team as a conflict avoidant. So we turned this around by starting to work with emotional intelligence. So as you see, emotional intelligence can be in the base, in the foundation of your leadership, and you might not be using it as much as you could. I work with a lot of engineers. So maybe you work with engineers, maybe you live with engineers. I have 3 engineers in my house, so I tell you. But the case of this leader was that he was treating everything as logic, data, not acknowledging emotions or the stress the team was feeling. So when change hit, people started shutting down and resisting this change because they felt unseen, and this created unmotivation. So when this leader came to me, there was a low level of engagement in his team and high resistance to change. So we started working with that, understanding, the emotional cues that the team was giving him and knowing what to do with that. Because in the end, emotions have information. That's why they're important. So I hope that you know a little bit more now about emotional intelligence, because I would like you to do a little exercise, okay? But before we do that, let me share with you some things that build emotional intelligence, okay? So daily reflection, for instance, even if it's only 5 minutes, please book in your calendars every single day, a short period where you can have this reflection. Naming emotions improves emotional intelligence. Pausing before responding. Reframing and helpful thoughts. Using short breaks. I had a client of mine that said that he understood that he needed to create a pause between what was happening, the stimuli he was receiving. It could be what was said, what was being done. It could be something in the body language and his reaction. So I suggested the following. I said, why don't you have a glass of water always close to you? So when you want to create that natural pause, you just drink. And that microsecond, that was what helped my client go from reactive mode to proactive mode. And said it was the difference that made the difference. And as you see, it's something small and simple, right? What else can it increase your emotional intelligence? Well, asking open-ended questions, giving regular and specific feedback. On the other hand, there are things that will reduce your emotional intelligence. Like what? Like constant busyness without reflection, like ruminating on mistakes, like multitasking, like giving vague feedback. So from what you've heard today, I would like you to do this simple activity, okay? And I'm going to share it with you here on the screen. So I would like you to book 10 minutes with yourself. Can you do that? 10 minutes. And you will reflect by doing this emotional intelligence habit scan exercise. You will reflect on what increases versus decreases your emotional intelligence. And once you've found that, you're going to choose one habit that you want to build and one habit that you wish to reduce. So book time with yourself, please, to do that very simple exercise. And if you would like help writing your personal emotional intelligence action plan, please don't hesitate. Get in touch with me. I've done this with many leaders, and it's amazing the result it gives. If you would like, for instance, to improve your emotional self-awareness, to expand your emotional vocabulary beyond stressed or frustrated, you would like to manage triggers and go from reactivity to proactivity, you would like to learn how to read emotional cues, or you would like tools for regulating strong emotions, or grounding techniques for reframing, or if you're interested on how to make your emotions inform sound decisions, get in touch with me. I'd love to talk about these things with you. And by the way, these are things I bring up in both of my books, bestseller #1 on Amazon, Performance Alchemy and From Suffering to Surfing. And if you would like a better price, get in touch with me directly. I can give you a better price on Amazon. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you an amazing rest of the day. Take care.